Hi, today I will be arguing the affirmative for the topic that the United States should repeal the death penalty. And I'm going to start with something that the negative side would often say, which is that the death penalty would decrease the amount of crime happening in certain states. Now, something interesting is when I researched it, in the years 1990 to 2003, so a 14-year period, the average death penalty was not that significantly different from that of death penalty states and non-death penalty states. And what I mean by this is from the year 1990, the amount of murders in 1990 was about 9, while that of, and this is actually for both death penalty and non-death penalty. So for the death penalty states, it was 9, and then for the non-death penalty states, it was 8. And it's a steady decrease, actually, to the year 2003. So the states that had the death penalty, the amount of murders was around 5, while for that of the non-death penalty states, the average murders was about 4. I mean, that's not very statistically significant. I did the math, and it was about a 29% difference in murders from each of those 14 years, which was really interesting. So, as a matter of fact, the death penalty does not decrease the amount of crime rates going on in certain states. In fact, that of those states that had the death penalty had a higher amount of murders than those of the non-death penalty. And another thing I would like to say is that it is very expensive to house someone who is on death row. The average cost to house just one person for like the court cases and stuff was $1.26 million. That was the average per person. That's very expensive. And interestingly enough, the average length that somebody was on death row was over 18 years. And it costs about $20,000 to $40,000 to house an inmate or someone in prison. And when you do the math, say it's $30,000 to house somebody for a year, and you're in there for 18 years. So that comes out to $540,000 for each person on death row that served for, or was on death row for 18 years, which is that on top of the $1.26 million is not very financially good for the United States or any of the states. And then the last thing I would argue that supports why the United States should repeal the death penalty is that, I mean, it's what you would think that most people would be concerned about, and that's getting the wrong person. It would be killing someone who is not deserving of the crime. If you think about that, like if you go to prison for something you didn't do and then also get executed for that, just think about what that actually means to the person and the families. And I mean, a lot of times we don't have the evidence or proof that these people are actually doing it, and yet we are still continuing to kill and execute these people that are undeserving of these crimes. So that in and of itself should be enough to repeal the death penalty.